Well, welcome back, blade lovers. This old sword with you with a new custom knife that just came in, my own purchase, and I want to give a big shout out to Matt Carlson of Ribsplitter Knifeworks for getting this out pretty quick. It was a Sunday drop. I managed to get in on it and ordered this one up, and I'll be explaining what the name is, showing you the knife, and giving you some of the background behind the design. So I asked Matt to send some information along because previously I had only seen his knife show up on a channel video on The Knife Junkie, of course, Bob DeMarco, who also likes point down Pikal knives like I do, and both of us having a martial arts background. So a little bit about Matt. He sent this along for me. It was more than I had asked for, but he says he's not a big self-promoter, but here we go. So the owner is Matt Carlson of Ribsplitter Knifeworks. It's a tiny knife operation out of Kansas. And most all of his blades are made from 1084 steel, 3/16" thick. And they have a forged look, although they are actually stock removal, and I didn't know that. And at the rate he puts out blades, he says that's the only real option. Everything is done in-house. All the blanks are cut in-house, and all edges and handle shapes are unique as he grinds them by hand. No water cutting. And when he says that all blades are unique, they really are. Every bevel is hand ground, no jigs or anything. And he prefers convex edges. We'll take a look at that. And really his base design shapes are around the applicability of them to the Libre fighting system. And that's Ed Calderon's fighting system. He also enjoys pouring his own resin handles when it's warm enough to do so. But the handle you're about to see is actually Kirinite. And I did a little background on Kirinite. It's a very durable acrylic resin that's ideal for knife handles and has various paper designs inside, is what I'm told. Okay, so his motto is he makes blades for working class Americans, quality blades for people who cannot afford to spend a rent payment on a blade. I'm going to show you some of the bling he sent along. Some nice decals. Here's his calling card. That's kind of cool. There's a Libre style fighting knife in a bony hand. And there is his logo, and you can freeze that for his info on Instagram. He does have a web page. I believe it's ribsplitterbladeworks.com. And that's where you can look and see. And on Instagram, he's going to tell you when his knives are going to drop, what day, and about what time. And you can get in on the latest batch. And there you go, is another cool decal that he sent along. So thank you, Matt, for all the extra bling. Why don't we take a look at this knife? This is the Draug, D-R-A-U-G, but you can see that from the header on this video. Look at the beautiful handle. That's the Kirinite. Really glows. He calls this color Gold Rush. So it's got the Gold Rush acrylic handle. And there is the nasty blade, which he leaves the rough forge marks on. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a few other companies out there, and why did I just forget who I was going to mention? You may know who I mean. I'm going to take a pause so that I can tell you. So I'm thinking about Stroop knives and Wingard wearables. Very similar finishing. That rough-hewn, hammer-forged look, even though, as Matt says, These are stock removal knives out of 3/16 steel, 1085 I believe I said, or is it 1088? And looks like I'm going to be referring to a lot of notes for this because I don't do too many custom knives, and custom knives are unique. 1084 steel. So 1084 is a high carbon steel. It's one that you normally do see some larger knives out of and some forged knives out of. But the intent of this knife is point down, edge in the Libre fighting system, Filipino martial arts Pikal fighting system, a shorter knife for a fixed blade, and it is so comfortable in the hand it melds right in. Now it is a smooth, shiny handle, and some people are going to want a rougher handle, but I will tell you that the way the handle ergos are, you are locked in between that bird's beak style pommel and the foot of the blade right there that is not sharpened. And there you can get a good idea of the thickness and the stoutness of that point. Let's focus there. Check that out. But when you look at it here, it looks quite thin. But you've got a lot of stock. And there is his convex grind. So convex being rounded down towards the edge instead of hollowed away from the edge. Convex. And it is quite sharp. I stropped it up a little bit. I'll say this. It'll probably shave paper, but that ain't its purpose. It is not its purpose. So, but it's a beautiful knife nonetheless. There are certain aspects of some knife fighting arts where you can hold the edge up, aka South Narc, and some of the techniques he teaches. Now here is a symbol on the blade. I'm not sure of the symbol. It could be a old medieval symbol. Could be one from some past ages. I know that Draug is a Nordic or Scandinavian Walking Dead kind of individual. Kind of like Night Walkers, White Walkers, sorry, if you follow the Game of Thrones movie series. Anyway, real nice, and he does an expert job on the kydex. Almost vacuum formed, it would seem. It's a perfect kydex sheath, and the material is really nice and stout. He includes the leather horizontal belt band on this one, which can be removed with those Chicago screws. And you can slip your belt under there and basically wear this horizontally. And what you would do, depending upon whether you're right or left-handed, is you would set it up so you could draw it out this way, okay? And so it will come out, point down and edge in. That would be the speediest way. I mean, you could set it up for appendix drawer, cross drawer, what have you. You could even remove that leather band and put a belt loop on. But let's do a few quick measurements before I rattle on too much longer. Hopefully I gave you the information because Matt's certainly deserving of it. These are very unique knives. Expertly handmade in a small shop. We got 7 3/4 overall, 7 3/4, with a 3 5/8 inch blade length and a cutting edge of about 3 1/4, a little over. And let's see, in inches, 0.65 across the handle. It's a little on the wide side, but you want it large enough to be able to get a good grip. And it is very contoured. If we go to millimeters for the blade stock, 4.6. If we convert that to inches, we get 0.18. So it feels solid in the hand. The weight definitely falls right in across the fingers there, and the blade is very lively. So whether your methods have you holding it edge up, not as likely as edge down, it is a good grip. Look at that beautiful material there. Gold Rush. And yeah, it's a steep edge, but I'll tell you, it will do the job for its intended purpose. Okay, this action here. That point is perfectly lined up to follow the arc of your arm moving in that direction. And for trapping, you know, for the Filipino arts, we do a lot of trapping with the point down blade. Now, I have two other examples of this style of knife. One you've seen reviewed already on the channel, and that is the Virus by Ken Vehicate and Blackrock Knives. And the other is the Anomaly by Bastinelli Knives, and that is a collaboration between Doug Marcaida and Bastion Cove. Notice the similarity. I've got those edges up, but really this is the way that they're intended to be used. The only slightly different one is the Anomaly, and it's called such because it's part karambit and part Libre fighting knife, or Pikal fighting knife. All have that downward hook. We got a little more of a raised point here on the Virus by Blackrock, and that's a little more akin to the is it Elvira? Elvia. I'm thinking of the old horror queen movie person there. Oh man, Elvia. So we've got a little more cant upward on that point. If you see where it lines up versus where this one lines up, the Anomaly more in a straight line, and the Draug a little more point down, a little south of center. So there you have a wonderful addition to my collection, the Draug by Ribsplitter, here we go, Ribsplitter Knifeworks. It's late, folks, my apologies. Ribsplitter Knifeworks, and the gentleman who runs it by the name of Matt Carlson from Kansas. I'm going to leave all his information in the comments so that you can get to his website and his Instagram so that you can reach out to him for hopefully an order. Highly recommended knife, very personalized. Each one is one of a kind. And, you know, these are coming in at a reasonable cost of about $150. So far less than comparable custom knives by perhaps more noted makers, but I think one day Matt's going to be just as notable. For me, right now, he certainly is. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe. See you soon.